Robin, Todd, welcome. Grateful y'all are here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. So if you don't mind, just as we get rolling, who are y'all? Just introduce yourself and what your role is today.
I am Robin Figlio. I work at Cumberland Heights as admissions coordinator, and I'm in recovery.
Great. And how long have you been here?
9 years in April.
Great.
Recovery, 13 years.
Got it.
Alumni.
And Todd, what do you do?
My name's Todd Mulligan. I work in business development. I used to work in the admissions department.
I'm glad we cleared that up. Right.
I'm still located. My office is in the admissions office, but
Right
I work
next
for
to me.
business. I'm paid by business development.
Okay, good. Just need to make sure that's clear because there was some confusion earlier this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our team meetings. Yeah. And obviously people care, it matters where you're housed.
Yeah, it does.
There seems to be some conflict in the admissions team about you.
Right behind me.
Right, exactly. So I love y'all a lot. Y'all's work at Cumberland Heights has had an immense impact on the front end of people's experience showing up for treatment. I mean, literally, a patient might see either one of you as the first person they might see when they're coming to Cumberland Heights for residential care. And every time I come into the call center, shout out to our call center staff, they're amazing. It's such a friendly, inviting atmosphere. I usually talk too loud and somebody's like, this is Cumberland Heights, Tess speaking, and I have to reel it back in. But I'm always so impressed with how prepared y'all are. I think it's specifically, Robin, I know you mentioned the other day that you thrive in chaos in there. Mm-hmm. And you're like air traffic control, right? Mm-hmm. Like where somebody needs to be, managing the bed board, making sure that the intake timeline is flowing. So just tell us what is a day in your life in that job look like for an admissions coordinator for an addiction treatment center?
So background is good if you have been a waitress before in a restaurant because you have servers, you have people that do the food, and you need to make sure it gets out the right time and everybody's happy. So I grew up in a restaurant with my dad. He had a restaurant for 15 years, and so we kind of had that chaos. You would sit down and you got 10 tables. So we might start off slow in the morning and get 15 calls, and before you know it, just like this morning, we added on 5 people in a matter of 13 minutes. So we had to find beds. We had to, so I was scattered. Didn't drink my coffee, didn't do anything. But in that 30 minutes, everybody was scheduled. Everybody was on time. We had drivers to pick them up if we needed. And, then if I needed to get Todd involved, I just turn around and slap him in the back say, hey, Todd, can you handle this? And he does all the kind of referring out or helping with transportation and stuff like that.
Yeah. So. I didn't know that you grew up in a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Where was this?
Split of Highway 70 and 100. It was called Carmen's.
Split of 70 and 100?
Mm-hmm. It's
down over there
Coco's,
in Belmead?
Yeah. It's Coco's now, right?
It's Coco's now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was it called? Carmen's?
Carmen's. We had it for about 18 years.
What kind of food are we talking about? Like meat and three?
Italian.
Really?
Yes.
Did Coco's purchase it from your family?
Somebody else purchased it and kept the name, and then Coco's purchased it from them. So it was.
When you say grew up, like little girl Robin grew up, like grade school?
12, I think, when they started it. Yeah.
So literally, like after school, you go to Carmen's.
Yes. Well, we lived in Hendersonville, and we drove to Belmead, worked till night shift, drove home to Hendersonville, and then got up and went to school the next day and started back over again.
So you went to school in Hendersonville?
For a little bit.
Gotcha.
And then we moved across town and I went to Father Ryan.
Gotcha. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense, actually, when I think about everybody has their kind of own job.
Yeah.
Getting somebody into treatment, and everything has to click together really well, or
it doesn't. Yeah. And I worked for my sister. She had a restaurant too, City Limits in Bellevue, for years. Yeah.
City Limits?
Yeah.
Was started by your sister? Mm-hmm. No.
Yes. And she's in recovery, I think, 40 years.
Did y'all know this?
So she's in recovery, and she would only hire people in recovery.
What?
Yeah. We had Blake and Ben and a bunch of other people that used to work.
Do other
with
people
us.
know this here, or is it just me?
Alan?
Yeah, Alan Whitley. Yeah.
And she no longer is affiliated with City Limits?
No, she sold probably. Oh my God, when was the flood? 2010.
Yeah.
She sold about that time. But
Wow.
yeah, she would come in if you wanted a job there. You had to fill out your application, tell her who your sponsor was, and and then she'd put you to work.
What?
Yeah.
Shout out to City Limits.
Yeah,
I did not
Yeah.
know that. That's really cool.
yeah. And I've got a niece and a nephew that are alumni from here, and they're married to two people that are also alumni from here. So it's in the family.
It's in the family. Cumberland
It
Heights
is
is in the family. So, in the most simple explanation you can think of, why have an admissions process for addiction treatment? Like, what are the steps? Why have it? Why is it important?
It's
what should somebody
important.
expect?
Well, when they call to feel comfortable, and I would say right now, 85% of our staff are either alumni or in recovery, and then the other percentage is got it in their family somewhere. So we kind of take on that role. We're either AA with them or we're Al-Anon with them, and we have to be able to judge that call.
What does that mean? Be more specific about that. When you
Well, if a parent calls,
right.
they don't want the recovery side of you because they're angry with their child. They want somebody that understands them and is on their side. So we kind of have to wear different hats, and sometimes we have to transfer that call if they're looking for something different than what we're giving them. If they need a male, if they need a female, if they need somebody that...
Oh, really? So you're kind of, based on the feedback
Caller.
from staff, they're kind of flexing to the unique presentation of the person as a function of even gender. Like
Yeah.
maybe,
Oh, yeah.
maybe Derek needs to hop on this call, or
Right,
Jeff, or
right.
Todd, or whoever else.
Yeah, because we don't
Interesting.
know the trauma. And there's
Interesting.
times where they'll get somebody that's very angry.
Interesting.
And they'll ask me to take that call. And once I get the call, sometimes it's just, I don't want to say older voice, but sometimes it's somebody more assured.
You don't have an older voice.
Sometimes it's more assured, a person speaking, and that
Yeah.
it calms them down. And it may be because we only deal with voices. So it's got to be the tone of your voice. It's got to be, how comfortable you are on the phone as to what calms that patient down. And sometimes it's just transferring to somebody else. And then at the end of that conversation, they want me to apologize to the first person they talked to because they're scared. They call and they want help. They've picked up the phone and they don't know how to navigate it. And that's when we come in and we kind of help them through the process.
People respond to you well because you're very assertive, direct, and
Well, thank you, Todd.
yeah,
And clear.
clear. People, and they're asking for help when they're calling, and Robin's there to guide them and help them.
Right. And there's probably some surety in having somebody that's, hey,
This person's
here.
taking charge.
we're going to be here until this time. We would love to see you. This is the things that you need to be sending us in the meantime. Let us know if there's an issue, and then we'll be calling you back.
Yeah.
Right?
Some of those young men, I have two young men myself. I just have to kind of get mom with them.
What's that mean? Get mom
That
with them?
means here's what you need to do, and that you need to call me and you need to get this information to us, and we'll get you. Okay, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And they do it. And aftercare, I had somebody come up to me and say, yeah, in aftercare, so-and-so said, once Robin said, if I don't get there, she's not going to keep me a bed. I got there. And he said it was my third time to call and cancel. And, and by that time, I have a rapport because I've talked to him 3 times.
Right.
As
right.
he's canceled 3
Right.
times. But
That's a good question. How many times do you think y'all are touching one family or one person by a call or a message before they come to treatment?
Just depends. It could be several. Could be patient. It could be mom, dad. It could be 3-4 times.
Because it's pretty rare that somebody will actually show up at Cumberland Heights and we haven't talked to them. Like show up on our front door like, hey, I need
It's
treatment.
very rare now, but it used to happen a lot more when I first started working here.
What do you think's changed? Why is that?
What was COVID?
Well, COVID kind of changed a lot. I mean, we don't just show up. You know, everything's by appointment, or you can't come on. You know, so when people say that, what did COVID do to change treatment? I think it was to the point where the isolation was a killer. We lost a lot of people.
We sure did.
Unfortunately, but it also changed.
When you say lost a lot of people, just to be clear, you mean people leaving treatment prematurely?
No, people dying.
Got it.
Because they were isolated at home, they were overdosing.
Right.
We had, I think you had several friends.
A lot of friends.
Yeah.
We have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
We
And
lost.
it was sad. It was very sad because AA meetings went to Zoom, you know, so nobody was going out. So it's been hard. I feel like this year has been opening the doors. 2023 kind of edged towards the end of the year was doing really good. But I think it was hard for people to get out because of the COVID. So we used to have people, you got somebody at the gate. Okay, let them pull over, and we'll, we've had maybe 2 of those, probably in the last 6 months. But now everybody calls. I think it's kind of knowledge that you need an appointment. Before 2020, it was a 12th stepper that would bring somebody onto campus and open the door and roll them out, and we'd pick them up.
I think about the campus even before the Welcome Center.
Oh yeah,
like
16 or 17 is when they built that thing.
Hopefully somebody sees somebody driving down the road, and then like we just saw somebody. Like I'm just so curious because I wasn't a staff member at that time, and what the process was for. You just pull up to medical, I guess, and go knock on the door.
Oh no, it was through admissions. They admit through medical.
You would hopefully follow the signs.
Oh, we had people drive onto campus.
That's what I'm saying.
In the grass, not on the pavement. And we'd be out there going, stop. And no, so we'd have to get them off, out of their cars and get the car into the parking lot.
Yeah.
But, we had people that were dropped off and would take off running.
So, Todd, what exactly do you do?
Really, whatever Robin tells me to do. No.
That is true. No.
So, I wear a lot of hats. I'll do what needs to be done, but my job description really is working with strategic accounts, working with other treatment facilities, other referral partners. If they need someone, that they're sending us into treatment, I'll follow it through their whole treatment process, make sure everything's being signed that needs to be signed, communications getting back to our referents, any discharge plans, we'll keep an eye if needed, And then, we have a lot of people call our admissions center that are looking for a different service than we provide, or maybe their insurance is, would be at another facility. So I would help that patient get them connected to another facility with our referral partners out there.
Yeah.
So it's really a fun job.
Yeah, and why is that? Why is it important what you do? Because I just heard there's a lot of details.
Yeah,
there's a lot of forms. There's a lot of follow up. Why is that important for our partners and for the patients?
Yeah, I mean it could be for all sorts of reasons. An interventionist is working with their family, and so they need this communication open with the case managers and the counselors and the family program, and so even after they leave our facility, they're going, they may have this interventionist working with their family for 6 months afterwards. And so,
right. And we don't want to drop the ball.
No.
Right.
We want to help guide that patient to their next level of care, whether it's with us, an IOP, or back home to another facility. So we want to make sure everything's in place, that we just last minute, we're not scrambling.
Yeah. And Sarah does that as well.
Sarah Shepard also.
Shout out to Sarah. We love Sarah. Mm-hmm. One of the things I'm really proud of that we do is we make sure that everybody that calls, hopefully as best we can within our power, gets to where they need to go.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about tactically what that's like to answer the phone? What exactly happens? What kind of resources are we passing out?
He could be in paperwork up to here, and he'll hear me on the phone going, oh, unfortunately, we're not in network, and he'll just go like this, okay? And instead of sending out an email, he'll take them right there so that I can go,
so he'll transfer
let me transfer you to Todd.
Because if she hangs up the phone with him and gives me a number to call, we may not be able to reach that patient. I mean, unfortunately, that's, they that might be the minute they answer, they're willing to talk on the phone. And so we'll get that information. I'll have a brief conversation with them, find out what services they're needing, if it's mental health primary, if it's, substance use in another state. And then if I need to, I'll reach out to our business development team and ask them for
an idea of,
what do
the
you
Gulf
guys think?
Coast or, right.
Florida.
But at this point, you probably have a mental codex of our region, just of people that, we can count on.
Yeah. But you don't want to, rely too much on this. So I try to put that information in our computer system so we can go search for it.
Shout out to the CRM. I appreciate that, Todd.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep. That's important.
It only works if you have the, the correct information in there.
Todd's speaking my love language.
He is. But he what's so good about Todd is that when he talks to them, they get such a relief. They're like, what? You don't take my insurance, but you're going to, And at first, I think they think I'm going to send them to a 1-800 number. I said, no, he's right behind me. And, and I said, he's just heard what I've said, so you don't have to repeat that. I'm just going to transfer you, and he's going to help you find a place that will take your insurance. And there's just such an ease with that. And then he just grabs the phone and says, what are you looking for? And so that when it's almost like a one-stop shop, they're not going to get turned down. And if we can't provide what they need, we have somebody that will help them.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing.
If I don't have the answer.
That is the whole thing.
And if I don't have the answer for them right there, we'll find it.
Yeah, we will follow up. Yeah. I love that, 'cause that is the whole thing. That is the why.
Is when they call, we can help them no matter what.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So both of y'all, I'll consider both of y'all long-term employees. Robin, you said it was 16 years? Did I make that up?
9 years in April. It's okay. 13 years sober.
That's what got it.
Yeah, that's
so
where you got
9
the
years
team.
at Cumberland Heights. And Todd, you?
It'll be 7 years this year, September.
7 years this year. So how did you find us, Todd?
I found out about Cumberland Heights the day I checked in, July 19th, 2016.
Yep. So you were a patient here.
I was a patient here.
Yep.
Came through in the middle of the night.
With TV cameras.
TV
I hate
cameras.
to bring that up.
No, yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was on the TV show Intervention.
Yep.
I was in California that afternoon being intervened on, and they said, would you like to go to Tennessee to treatment? And I said, what? Where? And so I came. And that night, I had about an hour and a half notice. You're getting on a plane and you're coming to Nashville.
Do you remember who picked you up? Was it like the crew, or was it a Cumberland Heights person?
Oh, no. I flew with a nurse and a camera woman from the show.
Right.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Right. And then they just drove you out here.
Drove me out here. Still keep in contact once in a while with them.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you remember about your time as a patient here?
Nothing for the first couple of weeks. I was pretty sick.
Yeah.
I remember that first night, and then once I went to bed, I really don't remember much for about a week afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you went to Stillwater's.
I did. I spent 5 weeks here, and then I went to Stillwater's for about 10 and a half months.
Yeah. What was that like? What's Stillwater's? What is Stillwater's?
Stillwater's is our 12-step immersion program
Yeah.
for men and women.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Saved my life.
Why? What did you love about it?
It was, I always say, that was the best year of my life.
Yeah.
It was. And that sounds weird to some people that, haven't experienced it, but like, you're in treatment and it was the best year of life? Absolutely. I've never laughed so much in that year. And you've been through the program before too. And so like that place will give you the tools to live life, to live life and not ever have to use substances.
Yeah. I love going out there. It just is slow. Like when you show up there, your phone might not work and that's kind of a good thing. And you just kind of, I remember being in treatment there specifically, and after I didn't have access to my phone or a computer I had been in treatment before, so it was going on several weeks, and you really start to sit into the day, you kind of start to really experience a morning and an afternoon and an evening in a different way than maybe regular life when you're rushing to work and you're rushing home and you're, rushing to turn on the TV or go out for a run or make sure you go by the dry cleaners or to pick up something for this person. You know what I'm saying?
So after I left Stillwater's, after spending that year there, almost 11 months, I didn't get a phone, until I was kind of pressured into getting one for like 2 months after leaving there. And that's, I didn't want one,
So
I just got so used to not having a phone and.
So how'd you get in touch with people? Like, well, where'd you go after Stillwater's? Did you go to a halfway house?
Living house? Yeah. We had internet access there if I needed a computer or something like that. But
yeah. And then you just tagged along for meetings?
I had to get one for, work and getting around. I didn't know my way around Nashville, so a lot of printing out driving directions and getting lost.
Yeah. Good for you. I'm glad you held out though, you tried. You tried.
Stubborn.
And then you buckled. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. So what do y'all love about admissions? Why are y'all still in there? Y'all been in there for years.
Yes. It's purposeful. Every day I come in, it's never the same. And being in recovery, my brain, like I said, I love chaos. I could not have a desk job and just sit and, work. So it's fun, and it's fun to get in there with that same group of people. And everybody in admissions is there for the same reason, and that makes it worth coming to work for. There's days where I work late and I come in early, but it doesn't feel exhausting. It feels good because, we just saved somebody's life, or we just got somebody back that was relapsing. And, I talk to people all the time that have lost loved ones, and when they call, they're trying to get their other child in, and there's just such a desperate tone in their voice, and all you can do is say, okay, I'm here. I'm going to do whatever it takes until we get him in. If that's me going back and trying to talk to Dr. Sledge or, get the nursing staff, ask them to stay later or whatever, just so that I can help this family. And that's what makes it worthwhile.
What do y'all think families are most concerned about at the beginning of treatment or in those early stages when they're calling, trying to help their loved one get into treatment?
What they're worried about before they get to treatment,
sure,
that their kid's going to die. And if they don't let them sleep in their home, they're going to die.
Right.
And so we kind of family program, a big part of that will teach them that, what they do won't kill their son or daughter. What their son and daughter continues to do will. And it's hard to tell a parent to lock the door. And they're so frazzled for not sleeping and not, worrying constantly. I've met parents when they drop their kid off, and I'm talking kiddo from 18 to 57, is I just give them a hug and say, now you can rest because we got them, and they just break down because they've been so strung out and stressed out about worrying about their son or daughter. It really is like, when they finally get to say, I said, now it's time for you, go home and take care of you. But, and they know their son or daughter's going to call them and tell them what a horrible place we are and that they need to go and leave. And
well, not all the time.
No.
But sometimes.
No, but sometimes
correct.
they will. I mean, if they,
Right.
It's kind of like we kind of let the parent know, you're going to get a call.
Yeah.
They're going to think they're not an addict anymore and they need to go home.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it myself
Yeah.
Did you?
at other treatment centers.
Todd.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not here?
No, this was the only treatment center I ever stuck it out. Did the,
Why do you think that is?
I think about that a lot. I think it was they really cared about what, I was in here really sick and I started to feel better. The treatment, the clinical staff's wonderful and they stuck with me. They just didn't let me walk out like, I had done 5 times previous.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't here when you were here, but I think that you were ready and willing, because there's a difference between those two things.
Not at first.
Sure, but you still did that next right thing.
Oh yeah.
And often, by the way, shout out to the next right thing, it doesn't feel like the next right thing.
Right.
It feels like the next wrong thing to do. It is opposite of what I feel that I want to do right now. Nobody shows up to treatment. Getting clean and sober is not convenient. And it's never convenient. I mean, of course not. Taking several weeks, or if you're participating in IOP or a PHP program, dedicating several hours a day, multiple times a week is hard. It's a commitment.
I was a mom of a teenager and 2 young adult men.
I couldn't imagine.
Boys
when you
in
came
their
to treatment.
20s, yeah. She was getting ready to be a senior in high school, and the 2 boys were first couple of years of college. And I was like, no, I can't leave them.
Right.
And but the staff made me feel that this time was for me. The food wasn't bad either. But in the family program, I had Dar.
Me too.
And she, talked to my kids and my husband and my parents even. And they made everybody feel part of my recovery. And that was what made me feel comfortable staying here for 30 days and being away from the family, was that they felt that was part of my recovery, and I felt comfortable with them being home by themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a big shift for a family, like that's what family systems is all about, is when people change, we're butting up against that homeostasis. We're butting up against that, whatever that normal temperature is. And it's really hard. It's really, really difficult, for those that are, because there's folks that might or might not be listening to this show that are struggling with the decision to go to treatment and feeling like, there's too much to do or it's not for me, and, if anybody's in that spot right now, we just encourage them to call Robin and call Todd.
Yeah.
Just have a conversation.
That's all.
30 days to work on yourself is like a little blip of your life. I mean, if you stop and think, 30 days is nothing compared to in active addiction and the wreckage that you do for years and years and years. And to think that 30 days was going to seem like a lifetime, but when I got out, there were still liquor stores open, and it was perfect. It was perfect. I went and told the mailman I was sober. I wanted everybody to know I was sober. So, it was amazing. But we try to encourage callers that they deserve to be here for 30 days or more and to get that treatment to get them to stop using. And it could be 30 days, extended care, still waters, IOP. I mean, we've got so many.
So how do we choose? What's the process of giving an individual and their family a recommendation for the type of treatment that we provide? Because that's something I think that there is some misconception on if you don't work in a treatment center every day, right?
Right.
So we'll just have a conversation with them, do a pre-screen with them, gather as much information we can, and make the best, recommendation based on the information we gathered.
Right.
And some of that has to do with medical. If they need detox and safe detox, they're going to need to go into detox. There's certain drugs that you don't need detox from, but you do need, everybody needs
a safe environment.
Yes.
Supervised by medical professionals,
Yes.
At a reputable organization.
Yes.
To ensure that, I'm not talking about a house in a neighborhood.
No, that's been around
not
for
naming
years.
names. Yeah, a facility that does this and has a track record of success. And sometimes medical records is involved, right?
Yes.
In terms of trying to clear somebody physically to be on this campus, or with some other, presenting healthcare issue, right?
Right, with medical, yes. And that's more for them to be safe. When we get the records, it's so that the patient is safe on our campus.
Right.
That we can provide them in case something was to happen with the help medically to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that we do, I think, so well. And the reason that Todd's with us and Sarah is if for some reason we can't safely keep that patient here, we might need a hospital-based facility that is one building if they need a wheelchair or a walker and they need more medical assistance, then they can provide that referral for us and we can get them the help that they need.
Yeah. For lack of a better description, more intensive physical care.
Yes.
Than what Cumberland Heights provides, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, in both of y'all's experience here at Cumberland Heights, what's treatment like?
As a patient here?
Yeah.
I mean, like Robin was saying, the food's wonderful. You're in here with a bunch of men, bunch of women that you become very close to. You build this bond, and you start to feel better. You start to, think that, I'm not unique and I'm not broken, and there is a way out of this, this 10-year hole I dug. And doing the program is, that way out. You start to feel better. And then they tell you, we think you should go to Stillwater's. And then I was scared all over again, had to restart that process. And that first day at Stillwater's, you don't know anybody and you're scared. And then you make a bunch of friends there again. And it's, you get out and all those friends are doing well and they're living in sober livings out in Nashville. And you guys start going to meetings together. And
what's funny about recovery is that, you expect a lot of treatment to be all about what you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And what it turns out, in my experience, and I think the experience of those around us, certainly here at Cumberland Heights, it's really telling you about some things that we suggest that you do.
Yes.
Right?
More positive reinforcement.
So just whether that's interacting with a community or and by the way, there's multiple pathways to recovery, right? Like if somebody's interested in exploring this, that, or the other, like, hey, all are welcome, right? But we need to make sure that people are encouraged to participate in a recovery trajectory.
Yes.
You know, and whatever that might mean for them.
My counselor told me 90 and 90, and I was so afraid of relapse that I called my sponsor crying, I can't go to another meeting. She goes, well, you drink every day. Why can't you go to a meeting every day? And so when she said it that way and it sounded so simple, I was like, I guess I could go to a meeting every day. So in that, the community, some of the community that I was here with were in the meeting rooms with. So it kind of just got that bond a little bit more. I'm still friends with the girl I was here with 13 years ago. She's 20 years younger than me. And, we were bound and determined to get our chips every year. And my sponsor says, well, if that's going to keep you sober, so be it, But, so both of us are still in it.
So has life showed up for both of y'all in recovery? How? What's been challenging?
I was here and I wanted to get closer to my dad. I said, I want to get closer to my dad. I got out of treatment, and within 2 months, he was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma cancer. I was like, oh my God. 2 months later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was so angry because the pink cloud was kind of, but it was the cliche that I couldn't stand saying every day was one day at a time. That cliche, that saying got me through and is still getting me through life today. Because I just say in my head that it's one day at a time. It's one day at a time. And the fact that I got to be with my dad that year, he called me every day, at least twice a day, to say, you know what it feels like to have cancer. And what do you think heaven's going to be like? And, you know, I got so close to him and so intimate with him in that last year. And I would never have had that if I was not sober. Never. So, you know, the pink cloud is there, and you get to ride on it. It goes up and down just like life, but it carries you through the hard times so that you can say, I can do this without relapsing. I don't need a drink. It's not going to fix my cancer. And so that's kind of the way I've kind of set things going, you know. So it's really, when people say in the meetings that, you know, life is not going to be roses every day, but we have the tools now to get through it without relapsing. You know, in that first year, you know, I lost my dad and I almost lost myself. And then my son was in a horrific car accident and I almost lost him. And that was my first year of sobriety. And I was just like, when is this going to stop? But, you know, it made me stronger. And I'm sober and very proud to say I didn't need a drink over it.
Did you want to drink in that year?
I'm not going to lie. I mean, there were times where I was like, I just need to go away. But
right.
I had a sponsor. I had some sponsees. And my sister's in recovery, my nephew, my niece. I mean, they're all in recovery. So I had people to turn to, and that's what I did. I worked at my sister's restaurant, so we were all sober people there. So I dove into all of that. I mean, I had no hair and was in a wheelchair at one point, and I had women coming and picking me up from my house to take me to meetings. And so, you know, it was that community, and I didn't have that before.
Right.
The girls that I had before, I wasn't friends with because I didn't really like them when I got sober. I was like, I don't have anything in common with you.
That's true.
Yeah, it is. So, you know, I mean, it was the support.
Yeah.
The support.
Yeah.
And my dad loved coming to the spiritual things here on Sunday when I was
services,
here.
Yeah.
So I would bring him here. We'd go to church because we, you know, had our church, and then he'd want me to bring him up here. So that last year he got to come up here and have some spiritual services too. So it was cool.
Yeah, that's a lot for anybody to go through, whether that's early recovery or middle recovery or sometime recovery, you know, or no recovery at all. That's a pretty amazing story.
Yeah. Well, when I was here, we called it the Druggie Buggy. We were going to an outside meeting. And I said, I know you have to stay sober for the rest of your life. My sister's in recovery, and she's been sober for 24 years. And I said,
that's interesting.
I said, but if I get cancer or something like that, I'm going to start drinking. Because I needed that in my back pocket to finish out, you know. And so the friend I just told you about called me when she found out I got cancer. And she goes, so where are you going drinking? And I said, I'm not. I want to live. You know, so that it had really changed in 6 months, you know.
Right.
Going from, I'm not going to say never, and then to say 6 months later, I don't want to drink, I want to live.
I appreciate you being vulnerable and just honest about the fact that we all, along our recovery journey, might or might not experience a day when, guess what? It crosses your mind that, you know what? It'd be nice to have a drink, or it'd be nice to have a drug. Usually, hopefully, right behind that thought is, but how's that going to help me? You know, what do they say? They call it playing the tape through.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and then you get to lean on your experience, like you just mentioned, whether that's community or a sponsor or relationship with a higher power, however you define that in your life, and you can kind of start to build some recovery muscle, if you will, that, you know, getting high and drinking and whatever else isn't going to change anything about our reality.
Yeah.
You know?
And I didn't get here because I didn't like drugs. I loved them.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
They just no longer serve me.
Yeah, right. It stopped working and started creating a whole lot of other issues for us, right? Yeah. What's been good? What's been the best thing about your recovery journeys?
I mean, for me, I just want to say one thing first. I did lose my father 2 years ago, and guess who had my back the whole time? You know, that was tough, but she was there, and she helped guide me through that. I didn't know what, if I was going to be able to
Of course not.
get through that one.
Yeah.
But on the positive, I remarried. I'm married now, have a beautiful dog, and a relationship with my daughter again.
Whom I got to meet the other day.
Heck yeah.
That was
Thank you.
awesome.
I appreciate that.
She's
Bringing her,
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah.
it's always been one of my dreams, kind of like bring her to lunch here on campus. And I got her out here for a week, and I called Rob and I said, hey, would it be all right if I brought her out here? And she's like, yeah, bring her. We all want to meet her.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody did. We were at the table. We all saw Todd, and everybody was like, I think that's Todd's daughter. Get over here. Get over here. And she was, I don't think I could stay, but I hope she had a good time.
She
here.
did.
Did y'all get to stay the whole day?
No, we came out here for about an hour.
Okay.
And a half or so.
Okay.
We're off. She wants to go, walk down Broadway and take pictures and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, naturally, which is fine. Let's do that,
Oh, yeah.
You can do that today.
Oh
Yes.
man, we did. It was a blast.
What'd y'all
Whatever
do?
she wanted to do. Went to Putt Shack. We did miniature putting. We went bowling at Brooklyn Bowl. A lot of driving around and showing. She wanted to go to antique stores. That's what she wanted to do.
We have a few of those in Nashville.
We do.
And the flea market was in town. We did that at the fairgrounds. That's awesome. And we went out to dinner every night. And did an activity. She's 16. She sleeps till noon. So
I hope she listens to this.
Yeah.
That's
we're
great.
working on that. But she's a teenager.
That's good. So how was your, how old was she
She's about 8.
when you
I think 8.
got
When
into
you
treatment? About 8 years old?
And I kept saying, she's very, she's really young. She'll never remember me using. And then she kept getting older and older. And then I've had many conversations with her since. She's like, yeah, I knew what you're doing. We think our kids don't know what's going on. We don't give them the benefit of the doubt. They know exactly what's going on. Why dad's sleeping all the time. Why is he sick all the time every time I come over to, on the weekend to hang out.
How's y'all's relationship changed over this time period from 8 to, 16 today?
I just have been able to be present with her and listen to her, or before I was so self-centered and so into what I couldn't think about anything else besides where am I going to get well again? When's my next pill going to come? Where is it going to come from? How am I going to get money for it? That's all the brain power I had. And now I can do much more and be there for others,
Yeah. And how long have you been married?
5 years.
5 years.
40.
It's a big deal. What?
40 years.
Congratulations. It's amazing.
Amazing that through all of what I put him through, and the kids, like he was saying, you think you have a good relationship with your kids, and I knew my kids knew because they would kind of say stuff. I thought you gave that up, and
Like little Thanksgiving
Yeah,
aside,
yeah,
coming
yeah,
in,
yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
not trying to rock the boat too
no,
much, just
no.
those little family comments that we
But
get.
they were, when they came out here for Family Week, let me tell you, they were beaming. This is such a great place, Mom. I'm so glad you're here. And so that kind of was like, that's where, But now, they tell me things I don't need to know just because the opening of that communication started in family program here. And so they tell me everything. And I'm like, I don't need to know that, but thank you for sharing. But yeah, we have a real open relationship now. Yeah. And it started here in the family program and learning how to communicate with each other in a healthy manner.
You know what's wild is how many times somebody has told me that their relationships with their family started here at the family program at Cumberland Heights. Mm-hmm. That's where it started with mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knee to knee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The when you did this, I felt this worksheet. I honestly, more than the other groups I had, the experiences I had in the family program were, I have a vivid memory of what happened in there.
Oh, yes.
Maybe it's that intensity. Because I love multifamily groups. I'm an MFT by training, but it's not just your family, which is pretty intense because you're having conversations that have been off limits forever.
Forever, yes.
but you're being observed
Yes,
by other
by other
families
people.
waiting their turn. So the intensity is like cranked up to like an 8. And, you know, we have a very talented team that offers a lot of really, really great services for families.
Oh, yes.
In a lot of different ways, you know, the family education program, family services broadly, individual, couple, family work. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So,
And when Doris still lived in Tennessee,
right.
she would see my son working at Publix, and she remembered him and would talk to him, and it made him feel so good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had amazing family program here.
So let me shift gears with y'all. How y'all been both at Cumberland Heights for a long time? How have you seen treatment change here? How have you seen the company change?
I think that's one of the great things about Cumberland Heights is, you know, sometimes it does, you know, sometimes it doesn't. And, you know, we do a lot of things very well, and I don't want it to change,
Right.
especially our clinicals and our family program. It just gets better, and we try to maintain and keep that the way it is. What's changed? Zoom,
Family does
telehealth.
Zoom.
Like when I was a patient here, you know, my family lived in California, and so I don't think we offered, you know, telehealth therapy for, you know, family program at that time.
Right.
So, you know, there's
And we're able to reach more people with the telehealth for family programming or for IOP. And I feel like the 12 steps has always been what we have modeled after for 60 years now.
57.
57, okay.
Yep.
And, you know, I feel like we've also broadened a little bit more about maintenance. We didn't have that. We didn't have the Vivitrol and all of that
Buprenorphine.
back in my day. And we do that now, and that was hard. That was hard for somebody that I guess was raised in the AA meetings with the old timers. You know what I mean? So it took some educating, and I knew that the opiates and the fentanyl were a different animal from the alcohol, and so that was something that I know I educated myself on. And Dr. Sledge had meetings with us and talked to us about, which I thought was awesome, because he brought us all in and explained how it worked and the research behind it and all of that. And so that kind of helped us accept it. For those that we were not against it, we just weren't used to it.
Right.
So it was different, but it's more inclusive, you know, to more people.
Yeah, we talk about this subject a lot. It comes out in the culture of what treatment centers do, and it's something we want to make sure people understand that, you know, the history of treatment centers, as we're aware, you know, were started as, you know, peer-led. I don't even know if we'll call them organizations, but properties.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm talking about, you know, 120 years ago. You know, there were inebriate houses where, you know, people just dried out, and hopefully it worked out. You know, this is before really modern medicine and modern psychology.
Yeah.
And so it's natural that our field is been dominated by people who have personal experience, unlike brain cancer.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
you probably don't meet your surgeon. They're like, hey, I had this exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because our field has grown in parallel to psychology, and because of that, you know, we have bachelor's level licenses to treat addiction, which, you know, other domains of psychology don't have. You know, in other words, we have a whole group of professionals that we need, by the way, that can help support our programs and help people who have experienced addiction find, you know, a recovery trajectory, a recovery lifestyle, and we don't need to throw away that history. We need to celebrate and remember that history. And in my opinion, we need to be flexible for the new evidence-based
Yes.
or emerging efficacious modalities that might help somebody live long enough to experience addiction. Just the other day, we were with Jim Geckler, our friend from Onsite, and he was talking about the next frontier with psychedelics, you know, and how that might help people who experience trauma, you know. And so we're not endorsing that necessarily as a treatment decision based on this podcast. Talk to your medical professional.
Yeah.
But there are interesting things that are happening, you know.
Let's have a conversation about it.
Let's have a conversation. Let's be open-minded. It doesn't have to disrupt the foundation of my own lifestyle.
Right.
And I think Cumberland has learned some lessons there which are valuable. And our people have, you know, that have been in recovery, like you said. Because I grew up too. I mean, I've been in recovery 13 years.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
We came here the same year. That's
Yes,
right.
we did.
And so, you know, we evolve in that way. And I love, too, Todd, that we're consistent. You know, it's hard to run an organization with 400 people in it that are touching 2,000 lives a year. So, you know.
And a point to that is when somebody relapses and they call us, they, you know, it's, I need to come back to y'all.
Yeah.
And you sense that yearning that they need to have that safe place again. And so when they do call us, it's I want some of that consistency. I need that in my life again.
Can y'all speak to, you mentioned it, and I think it's a big change. When you think about change, maybe it's not a Cumberland Heights change, but it's a big world change, and that's fentanyl. Of course, more people than ever are dying.
Yes.
How else do you think it's changed those that are seeking treatment or just your day-to-day jobs?
How fentanyl has changed it?
Yeah.
I mean, fentanyl, like, we might not get to talk to that person, you know, we might.
Right.
Whereas before, you could, you know, slow roll someone into treatment. It could take them, you know, get their fentanyl. You need them in yesterday.
Right.
And
We've had them where we've talked to them, they're coming in, and they die before they get here.
Mm.
And that's in 24 hours.
Right.
Like they
Robin
call that now.
and I, you know, before this podcast, were with a young man, admitting a young man and who was on the verge of overdose. I mean, it, you know. And that's
Today?
really-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We
And
were
we were both having to, you know.
just be there. Nursing came in, did their thing, and we were waiting to get him back to medical, but one of us had to stay in there with him.
Until they could
Because, but, and there were, you know, somebody said, well, you know how to use Narcan? I said, yeah, but I can scream too. You know, I mean, because we see it on a daily basis that they're coming to treatment, so let's have the Last Supper before we get in there. And sometimes they try in our bathroom. Sometimes they try in the ride here.
The car outside.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So it's very different. If somebody, we look at cases when they're using fentanyl as a high priority compared to other cases.
That's what I was going to ask, how
Yeah.
it's changed our procedures.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
our processes. And
Because
it's-
just like Todd said, we might not get them on the phone again.
Yeah.
And we've all been on the phone with them and said, the Uber's on its way. Please do not use any more fentanyl. And we're having to talk to them, and we know we can hear them on the other end.
Make sure a family member has Narcan with them.
And so, yeah, because, I mean, we've had some young adults talk about fentanyl parties.
The even scarier thing about it, well, fentanyl parties, but
Yeah.
also that fentanyl can touch almost any illicit drug.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of the manufacture of other substances. And I'm not trying to be like, you know, this, that, or the other, but it is a different world.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's a
especially
different
when they
world.
bring it in.
That's
here.
also, too, yeah, there's a danger, there's a risk for programs
Our
like
staff.
ours and our staff, too, you know, of somebody that's just doing the best they can with what they have, right? You know, like, what do we say? An addict living clean is living in an abnormal state.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so like that's something that's interesting about treatment is, you know, sometimes we need to watch out on our expectations for people that are really sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they're going to be sick.
Right.
How does that manifest? Well, they might try to take the TV off the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In medical, because
Yeah.
they're trying to figure out how to get to a certain channel. Not speaking from experience, I'm just saying hypothetically that might have happened. Or they're not. They haven't probably been in an environment where listening to directions or suggestions around them is something that's comes naturally. So,
And they're coming in, and there's been times where they brought substance with them.
mm-hmm.
When they were asked why, it was just in case they started feeling sick.
Of course.
Because that's
Makes sense
the
to me.
worst feeling. Yes.
That was my plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next time I went to
Need to be
treatment, I was going
prepared.
to detox myself.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they grabbed me before
The
I could
fear
do that.
of hurting and feeling bad was clouded the judgment of I'm going to treatment, but I'm going to have this just in case they don't understand I'm hurting. And it's their security blanket. So they, most of the time, it's like, yeah, take it. But I just was afraid that I was going to need it because there is a fear of just stopping. It's your friend. It's been your best friend.
Well, we have to do this before we stop.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Amy, Tess, Paige, Derek, Jeff, Matt, your new brother,
Agnes.
but we love you. Agnes, we love Agnes. Janelle,
Janelle,
Aaron,
Chap.
Chap. No, Christina. Christina, alumni of
Alumni
the.
Christina.
And I've never seen that admissions department run so well. I mean, everyone in there
It's
is
awesome.
amazing, and a lot of it's
because of Todd.
yeah. To me, it's like
No, yeah, I and you too. I've been at Cumberland for almost 6 years. Weird, wow, it's gone quick, but yeah, the admission center it's consistent. There's some consistent folk, but it's changed.
Yeah.
It's especially over the last year, 18 months.
yes.
It's completely changed, and I have so much respect for the work that y'all do, and 24/7. I mean, the phone rings all day, every day, and we really like to be able to answer it, to be able to be there. So I want to honor them and their work, their hard work. I mean, I don't think I could do it. Really what it means to answer the phone 30 times a day, and on the other end, it's somebody's life-threatening emergency. And like you said, the parent has their narrative and their experience and their pain, or the individual has their fear, or, dare I say, in my own experience, manipulation that they're spewing through the phone. And to try to work through that, to gather information, to get somebody here it's not easy.
no, you will see it all.
You will absolutely see it all. So I thank them. So grateful for them. Grateful for our team time this week, by the way.
Yes.
Love that. Shout out to Tess, admission specialist of the year.
Of the year.
Yes.
And she's done she was so nervous accepting
I know.
that.
I know. I knew she would be.
Which is, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I
She's
get
humble.
And she cares.
She does. She does.
She cares. And I've seen her change
Oh, yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
She's been here just over a year, maybe.
Yeah. A lot in a short amount of time.
In a lot of ways finding her voice.
Yes.
No pun intended, because she answers
Yes.
the phone, but I remember when she first started, she was very quiet. So we love you, Tess. We love all of them in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do y'all think this went?
It's great.
Great. I feel better. I feel good.
You were nervous. Why were you nervous?
I was nervous because I don't do this.
How do you think it went?
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Good.
Y'all are great. We love, the purpose of this show, and we're still rolling, by the way. I just kind of pretended.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
to get you guys off kilter a little bit. But the purpose of this is to highlight the reality of what it's like to work in a treatment center or be associated with one, or and to make sure that we bring frontline staff in here. Who cares about my experience, right? What's it like to work in a call center? What's it like to be a nurse?
Have you had a nurse on here?
Not yet, but we're getting one scheduled. What's it like to be a primary therapist where your caseload turns over every 24 days?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
You know, what's it like to be on the finance team to try to call people as related to their finances, you know, on the front and back end of treatment? I mean, there's so many pieces. What's it like to be a chef?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
where everybody's got an opinion about what's being served, you know, which I think is great, by the way.
I know.
Shout out to Ryan.
I know. It's great.
But we want treatment information to be more accessible. And so that just takes a little time and a little production to get folks like you in here and just to have a conversation.
And normalize it. Because when we have people come in, I said, it's not like TV. Because movies and TV, they think everybody's going to struggle, and they're going to go into
It's drama filled,
I said no, they won't even know they're
interaction.
on detox meds, and they'll still be going to groups. And oh really? I said yeah, we don't tie them down or anything.
Yeah, what's that movie, 28 Days?
Yeah.
With Sandra Bullock?
My
Yeah.
experience was exactly like TV. So it literally was on
Oh,
TV.
you were on TV.
Yeah, so I don't know what she's talking about.
It was your experience, so it's exactly like you
Literally
expected.
on TV.
And I was
You can
here.
Watch it. Shout out Todd Intervention, season 16, episode 12.
Yes, I didn't check him in, but I was here for the next day, and I was I didn't come back at midnight, but
Yeah, because they shoot late.
Yeah.
You know, it's that scene where the music's playing. It's like uplifting.
Yeah.
You know, so let me say this. What's funny about the show Intervention, I loved that show in active addiction.
Yeah, me too.
oh yeah, that he would
The
watch it.
insanity of what, and this is common, the insanity is I never for a second thought that like maybe we were sharing a similar experience. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
Like
I used to watch it and like, at least I'm not doing that.
Yes!
You know, and then
Exactly.
slowly over the years it gets to where I'm doing that, and then I thought it was off the air. I didn't even know it was on the air, and so that's how they.
And now today, if you were like, let's watch Intervention, I'd be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's just, those
Yeah.
are my people, and
Yeah.
it's active addiction. You know, it's
Triggering.
really, it's just hard to watch. And the families, the emotion. Like, I
Yeah.
love the hope piece.
Well, shout out. Stay tuned for this year's episode.
What, are you running it back?
You might see a little bit of me on one episode. Well, we're still waiting to. So maybe you will watch it.
Oh, that's right. Like a little,
Little snippet.
but it would not be you in active addiction.
No.
correct.
So we can watch it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like, we had another interaction with the show,
Yeah.
and another patient came through Cumberland, and I think you were a part of that welcoming kind of a full
Yeah.
circle.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And I think Christina told you, we're still rolling, by the way. We're just going to keep it going.
Oh, okay.
But Christina told you that your name, just Todd, Todd,
Just thought.
in content is one of the, and just Todd Intervention is one of the biggest drivers across our social channels.
It's just me typing my name every day. Get that number up.
Yeah.
Get that note.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that maybe speaks to the impact of the show.
Yep.
And so grateful that because of that we got you.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
so
really.
grateful. I mean, they could have sent me anywhere, and I was
Right.
disappointed they didn't send me to certain places. You know, why did they send me here, not to Florida or Southern
What was your
California?
real reaction when they said
Yeah,
Tennessee?
Yeah, it was like, what?
He's like,
What do you love? What have you loved about Tennessee since you've been here?
I mean, there's so much. Everyone that I know in this state is because of Cumberland Heights in some way or another. You know, every friend I have, and I have a lot. I know a lot of people here now. You know, it's been 7.5 years, and all thanks to Cumberland Heights, and just really, they could have just. I mean, if any, Nashville's the it city now, and I didn't know that back then. And there's so. I mean, if you can't have a good time in Nashville, and I don't know where you're going to have it.
It's a good point. Yeah.
there's a lot of sobriety in Nashville.
A lot of sobriety in
A
Nashville.
lot of meetings. Yeah. Very healthy.
Even the
recovery
other
community.
treatment centers like around in this area. I mean, the people are so great to work with. We got friends in all different types of facilities, and everyone works together really well. And we all come together at these collaboratives we do, and
Yeah.
You're right. You're right about that. We're lucky to have a healthy community of people who maybe recognize that there's more than enough.
There is.
folks to help.
Yep.
And there's more than enough room at the table professionally for people to for people to be a part of.
Yeah.
That's so important.
If you change that, it's not exactly. If you change that, perception, and it's like there is plenty,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love y'all. We'll let you go. We'll have you on again. I really appreciate it again, by the way, because I know it's the middle of the day, but just thanks for being with us.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.